And thank you for staying with us. Advocates for Children is a not-for-profit organization that's providing advocacy for students and their families on a whole array of educational issues affecting public school students in New York City. They serve on behalf of students who are at greatest risk for school-based discrimination and/or academic failure due to poverty, disability, ethnicity, immigrant status, or other things. The question is, how has the organization actually been affected due to COVID-19, and what initiatives are actually being put in place to help those in need? Here to share a little bit more with us is the Director of Advocates for Children Parent Center, Lilliana Díaz-Pedrosa, and we welcome Lilliana to the show.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Glad to have you. And so when we talk about organizations that are actually affected by COVID, we know every organization has been affected in its own kind of way. But when you talk about really providing services to children and youth, they are considered amongst the most vulnerable population, especially in a time such as this. So give me a little bit about your organization, how you guys have had to navigate through this COVID-19 situation.
Well, like every organization, it's been challenging for families to deal with the sudden changes in the way that their children received education. For us, the switch has been to go remote and to try to provide information in as many different ways as possible to families so that they can navigate the school system during this time and advocate for the educational rights of their own children. What we have been doing is offering a lot of virtual events. So for example, we've been doing weekly Facebook Live presentations in Spanish and English to try to update families about what their rights are right now and how things may be changing from week to week. We have offered a lot of guides, pamphlets, information that are now housed in our website, which is advocatesforchildren.org. We have presented webinars live on our YouTube page on issues that are as wide-ranging as grading policies, early childhood education, special education basics, remote learning during this time, and additional pieces of information that come up. We have been serving families remotely, even though our doors are currently closed. We are fully open to providing information through our helpline, through our website, through our information line. We've been really trying to go as far as we need to go to meet the families that are in need.
And so give me a little bit about, when you're doing children's advocacy, the work that goes on, because as you take care of the most vulnerable population, I know that, advocating for children, and I talked about it in the intro, a wide variety of different ways that you guys provide services for children.
So advocacy might mean having a conversation with a parent and providing information about the next steps might be, for example, in getting an evaluation for special education services right now, or how to get a device, or how to connect a device to the Department of Education. So it could be something that's very complex in terms of information, or something really simple, just like, let's walk you through how you find the settings in your device, and let's figure out a way for you to connect to the Zoom platform that the Department of Education is using. So it could be anything from hands-on virtually to walking through a complex process step by step, so that the family then knows what's next, what options they have, and what they can choose from to navigate to the next piece that they need to. It could be a number of different things. I wish I could be more tangible on this.
Right. But are you seeing a trend of something that the families are asking for more of these days, or what are the common demographics that you're dealing with now in the COVID-19 pandemic?
Well, it's funny because it's actually changed from week to week. So when we went full virtual during the first closing, we were talking about how to get devices, how to connect, what does it look like right now, with the idea that perhaps after the summer this would end. With the back to school, there were additional issues such as busing for students who were attending in a hybrid way, to how do I get the new devices, how do I connect to Zoom. Parents are very concerned about the time that students are receiving services. So they may be concerned, for example, if they're remote, that they're not getting as many hours of services as they would if they were hybrid. And funny enough, the same concern is for hybrid students when they go back home. and they receive their services remotely. There's a lot of concerns about students who receive special education services, whether they are receiving appropriate services while they are at home or even while they're in school. There's just a host of difficult moments with parents who are at home, are in need of supporting their child through a platform class, a Zoom class that they may not be equipped to handle themselves, and they have other things to do. There's also parents who work, who are in need of a place for their children to be while they are working and not in school. There's just a number of different concerns that come, and there's not one that one can say this is a one size fits all, but there is a commonality to it, and that is that we're in a time of crisis. And trying to be a parent and navigate the school system that itself is navigating through this difficult time is very complicated. And that is why one of the things that we do is to try to offer as much information as we can as soon as we receive it, with the understanding that it might be incomplete information. It might change at the next day even, but it is the information that we have so that parents can then figure out a little bit better what they need to do next.
Yeah. And when we talk about a parent, there may be a parent out there right now that's watching and saying, listen, I feel a little bit, not a little, a lot, way overwhelmed with what's going on. If a parent is watching right now and saying, listen, I'm overwhelmed, I need some assistance, it just seems like too much. What can they do? What resources are available?
So if you have questions, if you're a New York City parent who lives in one of the 5 boroughs and you have questions about education, it is an overwhelming time, reach out to us, ask questions. We have a free helpline that functions 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday, 10 to 4. I can give you the phone number, but I think you'll probably put it on, which is 866-427-6033, and ask questions. Ask any question that you have. Our services are free, and you will speak with an expert in education rights in New York City. You can also go to our website, advocatesforchildren.org, and look for guidance, information, our recorded webinars to educate yourself a little bit more about what is happening and what you can do. But if that is too much, because we have so much to do, then you can also send us an email and let us know what your question is, and we can get in touch with you and answer that question, just so you can then start processing this part of the crisis with some assistance. You are not alone. I mean, we certainly can support you in this piece.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about the policies, because prior to COVID-19, I know that you're very engaged in policies and initiatives, particularly dealing with youth students. Talk to us about some of the stuff that you were working on before this COVID pandemic hit.
Well, we've always been working on just improving the educational system for students with disabilities. We work on a broad variety of issues with the Department of Education, and we advocate for broader solutions around anything that has to do with accessing services, language access rights, rights for children who are coming in from lockup facilities or who are involved in the juvenile justice system. We advocate around issues of access to education and opportunity. It's really just such a broad variety of pieces. I'm trying to think of one area to highlight, but the piece that I think is the most important that we do is we collect the information that we have. We identify trends that parents are concerned about in the school system. And then we take that back to the Department of Education and say, hey, here's a problem. Is there something that you can do about this? So not just on an individual basis, but also on a systemic basis, so that the system can improve for the benefit of all the students that are participating in it.
Yeah. Well, certainly we want to thank you, Lilliana, for coming and sharing and giving us a little bit more information. For people who want more help, give me the number for the helpline.
Sure thing. The number for the helpline is 866-427-6033. It is a free phone number, and it can be reached anytime between the hours of 10 and 4 from Monday through Thursday.
All right, Lilliana, well, we want to leave it there. And thank you so much for joining us here on Open.
Thank you.
All righty. Well, guess what? If you want more information, we encourage you to stay connected to them on their social media platform. How do you do that? Well, all you have to do is go on Instagram and Twitter at AFC New York. Once again, the number, I should say the letters are AFC New York. All right, we do have more show. We want you to stay with us. Open will continue. We're coming right back right after this.